Greetings, everyone. It's Lachelle Pulliam, the Greenlight Lawyer at Pulliam Law, LLC. I provide music licensing services to filmmakers in North Carolina and Georgia. And tonight I wanted to give information about the first steps for music licensing. So you may have seen me pop on Facebook here and there to talk about music licensing and what it is. And so tonight, I just want to give you a little roadmap or a checklist of things to think about before you embark on the actual journey. So the first thing you need to do is decide if there is a particular song that you want in your film. So maybe you have one in mind, maybe there's one that invokes some emotion or one that is just perfect for your script. Then you, of course, want to jot that down because at times we forget things. And if you get a thought during the moment, you want to go ahead and write it down. Think about how you'll use the song. Is it going to be like the theme song or score, or are you going to use the whole song or just a part of the song? And where will you play the song? Will you play the song during the credits, or is it going to be during like a background scene, or are you going to have it played on a jukebox or something like that? So think about that as well. If there's a particular song in mind, then you want to think about, is this a hit song? If it's popular, you can expect that you'll pay probably a heftier price for the license, but keep that in mind. Is this a song that's popping, or is this a song that nobody even cares about? Because that will determine, how far you go in your license process as well. One other thing to think about is if a pre-recorded song or a re-recorded song rather would work. So for example, maybe there's a particular song you want to use, but you don't want to use the actual sound recording, right? So what you hear in the song, maybe you just want to, or you could have some other musician re-record the song. That might be an option for you to get the license at a more affordable price, because then you don't need the master use. You can just get a mechanical license. So how many songs do you need? Will you need just one song for your film? Are you going to need a dozen songs? How many do you need? You'll definitely want to identify that so that you can make sure you have all of your bases covered. Another thing to think about is, will a library stock song work? So there are service providers, you can find them online, where you can get music sometimes for free, but if not for free, then for very small fees, where it's pretty much music just for film. And so that might be an option if you don't have it in your budget to get a license for a song. Then you may be able to use some of these that are already pre-licensed and available for your use. Speaking of budget, you definitely want to think about what your overall budget is for your film, as well as what your music licensing budget is. You'll need this information when requesting the license, and it's helpful. Often you can get a good fee if you let them know that, look, my budget is not this big, but this is what I can afford. They may be able to work with you, but also you have to remember that depending on the song, the owners of the rights, they have a right to make money off of it too, right? So just because your budget is small doesn't mean they're going to have show you any favor, but it is a consideration. Then you want to think about, what is the concept of your film? When working with me, this is something that we spend a lot of time on, because as I'm thinking about what solutions would work for your music needs on your project, I have to keep in mind what your overall concept is. So this is important. Of course, if you're making a film, then you have your overall concept, but there's a whole mood and emotion that you might want to evoke for the whole film, and then of course for particular scenes. So that's something to keep in mind. And these are all things that you're brainstorming about and conceptualizing, writing down in preparation for all of the legwork that's required. So this is before you even get to the point where you're requesting a license. These are things you want to think about. You also want to consider the genre of your film. Sometimes whatever genre the film is in could help shape either the musicians that you choose or even the types of songs that you want throughout your project. You also want to consider territory when you're looking into licenses. So where will my film be shown? Will it just be shown domestically in the United States or internationally too? Because that will have an impact on the types of licenses that you get. And if you're only going to show it in an educational setting, that's something to think about, as well as if you plan to have it shown at a film festival. Sometimes getting a film festival use license is a little more affordable for indie filmmakers, and then you can discuss at that time options for use in media later. But that's also a consideration or something to think about. So those are just little nuggets. There are other considerations, but these points are a good starting ground for you to wrap your head around what your music needs are for your particular project, as well as what direction you're going in terms of musicians or particular songs and whatnot. So this is my first Facebook Live for Greenlight Lawyer. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and feel free to like my Facebook page, visit my website. It's greenlightlawyer.com. And thanks for joining me, and good night.